book, so now
Right.
he actually has to listen to us.
It being 6:10, we'll call this Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting to order. It's April 19th. We do have a quorum. We are absent some members. You should have received or gotten today the minutes from the last meeting. Has anyone had the opportunity to review those minutes or
Yes, sir.
want to discuss them?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
We have a motion. Can we get a second?
Aye.
Second. All those in favor accept the minutes as written?
Aye.
Aye.
Pass. Staff report, Robin.
Yes, we have had a lot of stuff going on lately. We had the Easter egg hunt, and it was the biggest one we've ever had. Great turnout. I think everybody enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and it was a beautiful day. It was a perfect day for it. We also had opening day for all of our leagues. Opening day for baseball and softball was the same day as opening for soccer, and inline hockey as well has been playing. So the leagues are going great, and we did finish up the maintenance on the two complexes at Veterans Memorial Park. We did get the safe coat in and put down, so that's a new surface on all 8 ball fields that we really feel like is going to be a big help to us with the weather or anything else that comes our way. But it's our first year with that up at our new up at the complexes. The recycling program that we talked about last month is still going very well. All the city buildings are participating and doing very well with that. The Civic Auditorium, it was brought up last month that we had some structural issues with it. We got all that repaired, and we're also going to redo the floors on the inside. The linoleum and the wood floors are going to get redone. So the Civic Auditorium will be closed May 5th through the 9th for any rentals. We're going to take care of the rest of that. And let's see. The council report that you have for the month of March. Our baton class did not make this time. They didn't get enough students sign up. But our jazzercise and kickboxing are both going really well. They've got a lot of members. Kickboxing is about to bust at the seams. I think we're going to have to add another day for that. And clogging, of course, it has smaller numbers, but the people that do come out to clogging really enjoy it. We're also talking to the instructor to start our Zumba class back. So that's probably coming up pretty soon. And I think that's about it for my staff report. Other things we'll cover later on the agenda, but that's it. Any questions?
What's the U.S. Census you have here?
Oh, we've done 2 things with the census in our buildings. The first thing is they just wanted a place where they could set up and be available to people in the community that had questions on filling out their census forms. So they used our library, our senior center, our civic auditorium, and our multipurpose building, and just had places available for people to come. And I think the library and the senior center have worked very well, but they're not going to use the multipurpose or civic anymore for that. But they're coming into the civic auditorium to do training for the census takers. So we're being supportive best we can for the census, because it is very important in our community for that to be a good thing. So we're trying to help any way that we can.
Do you have a head count yet?
We don't, and we're not really involved in it directly like that. I think that our planner, Grant Green, is our city representative, and I think there's a website that he can go to just to see what percentage of the city has turned in their forms, but I don't think there's any kind of head count just yet.
I got a question on the
Yes.
revenue and stuff for kickboxing. Is that expected with the attendance of 253? Is that kind of what we were looking at and anticipating?
Well, I tell you, what we do with those programs, just to keep it simple for everybody, we charge the instructor a set rate. So regardless of how big or small their class is, they pay us a set rate, and that keeps it easier for them and us, as far as keeping up with that. But you can see her attendance in
Yeah,
just
she's-
9 classes, that number.
That's great.
They're about to outgrow the Civic Auditorium, but she likes that floor better than she does over at the multipurpose building. So she's considering it just for her sheer numbers.
Yeah, obviously it's popular.
It is.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
We missed you on the open ceremonies.
Well, I missed you guys too. I had to drill that day and was going to try to slip away, and it just didn't happen. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I was out of town as well.
Huh?
I was out of
Oh, yeah, you were.
I was
there
out of
too.
town. So,
but the mayor was there.
I missed her more, though.
any other comments by anyone other than Bob? Move right into old business. We have 2 items still under old business, one being the weather warning system. We have been talking about that. Our budget hearings for the city have started, and we have been talking about that. And what we're looking at is a plan that would be about $57,000 annually for a payment on that. But we're still in the early stages. Of course, our budget is extremely tight. And we're having to assume that we'll get no grants to help pay for it. So, but we are trying to look for grants and other revenue sources to help fund it. And it is on the table at the moment to try to get that through this budget cycle.
Is there grant money available for,
Grant money
from other cities or?
Grant monies are really, really tight, because obviously the organizations that provide those grants, their revenues are down because their giving is down. So they're doing a lot less, and just very, very tight. And we've tried a couple of different ones that in the past have been pretty supportive of the community, but it's just so tight that they're having to fund ongoing programs they usually fund rather than new programming. But we're still in the search though.
The one thing I'd like to add about the weather warning system is that it is weather, not just weather sirens, but weather voice messages for the whole city. It will reach 100% of our population, and you can use it besides just weather. You can use it for other emergency announcements. If there's a child missing or a escape prisoner, I don't know, whatever you'd want to use it for, but you can, it'll have some pre-recorded things for like storms and that kind of stuff, but then you can go in and override those and give whatever message needs to be given. And also included in the weather warning system is a lightning detector system that would be at Veterans Memorial Park, so that for our leagues,
Be protected.
yeah.
And we have
it's a
looked at the
safety.
option of that would be fully automated, would not be controlled by any human. That would be
So that there won't be any fights about whether we should call a game or not, and none of this, just one more inning or whatever. And really, statistically, a lot of the lightning strikes that kill people are ones that you don't even know there's a storm, or the storm's already passed, or the storm's just coming, and it's just this random lightning strike. So if we had our system set up, it'll warn us and let us know if there's lightning anywhere, and however many miles we program it to tell us. So we're hoping it's just going to be a huge safety factor for us.
And at that time, they will leave the field.
You get off the field and get to safety, either in a dugout or a building or something like that. Now, one of the reasons that we want to go automated as well with the detector is some of these sirens and stuff can be worked off the National Weather Service. But with us being so close to Davidson County, if if a warning under normal circumstances is issued for Davidson County, Rutherford County would not get that warning. So with us being right here on the border, we want something that's automated to within a certain mile radius, so it picks it up whether it's Rutherford or Davidson,
Okay.
you know, to pick it up like that, or even Wilson for that matter, being across the lake. So that's some of the things we were looking at, so we wouldn't just have to rely on the National Weather Service just for a Rutherford County warning.
All right, that's great.
I like that built-in safety feature, that's great.
And also, I think we've been looking at, I think it has the capability of allowing, we can even program it to where it makes phone calls, to where we can offer our citizens to let them opt in to give their phone number, and if something happens, you know, an automated system will do a reverse callback, like a reverse 911 call.
Oh, really?
With a
That'd
recorded
be
type
great.
message.
That's
So,
great.
so there's several features that can be used for that, and used for a lot of different reasons.
That'd be great.
Of course,
Wish
that's
we
why-
could get it right away.
Well, that's why we've been trying to look at Homeland Security monies and everything, you know, obviously because it can be used for that, but we're still not giving up on it.
Well, if anybody out there in the community would like to donate the money for it, we'd sure appreciate it. It'd be a great thing for us to have.
Next thing would be a park ranger, which we've talked about for a couple of years. And Robert, I don't know if you want to add anything to that at all. No. But, you know, it's there. It is not in the budget this year, so it will not happen. So there's just other things we have to deal with.
We have a few ideas up our sleeve that we're working on to try to get some kind of police presence in the park until we can get a park ranger. So hopefully we can make something like that work, because every year it seems like more and more we need somebody there. Just the sheer volume of people there alone is enough to just need somebody there keeping an eye on things, and then if there's ever a problem or an issue, it's that much more. But the police department does help us, and they do keep an eye on it, and they do the best they can, even though they're spread thin. But it would just be good to know that we had a city employee there at all times that had the authority to, you know, make people behave. My parks staff are there and they can try, but they don't really have the teeth to get things done sometimes.
Right.
So
Did we have much last year? If they had to be called up there?
they get called. Okay, I mean, I don't think it's horrible, but it's enough that we need somebody there. So, but we do the best we can.
Do you mean fighting and stuff like that, or drinking in the park?
Fighting, there's some gang activity, and just speeding. Speeding is a real bad one, and that's pretty simple to take care of. If I'm in the park and I see somebody speeding, I'll try to flag them down and tell them to slow down, and they just laugh at me. But speeding is a big issue. Parking, you know, people just drive up on the walking trail and drive to wherever they want to. Sometimes there's issues at the shelters where somebody has a shelter reserved, and when it's not reserved, it's first come, first serve. But somebody will have the shelter reserved, and somebody else will come up there and set up camp, and then when the person that has it reserved comes, they won't move. And it's just nice to have somebody around that's going to take care of that stuff. Every once in a while there's some league issues, injuries, or maybe a fight, or irate parents or coaches. You know, it happens whenever there's competition, that kind of stuff happens. So, you know, it's just when you get that many people in one place, there's the chance of things like that happening. For the most part, I have to say, we do have a lot of people that just appreciate having a nice park and want to go there and do what they're supposed to, so that's good.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? New business, community garden, and there was a community meeting for that.
And we've already had our first work day on that as well, and it went very well. We've got a really good core group of people that came to the meeting and also came to the work day, And we kind of have started in a whirlwind a little quicker than I anticipated, but it's great. We've got the enthusiasm and the passion there, and I sure didn't want to pull the reins back on that at all while we had it going. And so there's a few little kinks I'm sure we're going to have to work out along the way, but like I said, we've got a great core group, and Saturday's work day went well. We got quite a bit planted. Deborah was there, as a matter of fact.
Yes, ma'am.
The one thing we have a hold harmless release form that we're asking anybody that wants to participate in the garden. You're more than welcome to, but we're asking that you please fill out a form and get it back to the Parks and Recreation Department before you do that. If you need to call us or email us, we can get one sent to you. If the senior center happens to be open, they've got them down there. You can get one, and you can email it, fax it, send it to us, and then from there, once you fill that out, then you can pretty much go work at the garden anytime you want to, and we encourage you to go anytime you want to. And it is a community garden, and it is up to the people that are working on the community garden as to what they want planted and how they want it done. And so we encourage anyone that is interested to come join us, because it really is a lot of fun. So anything as a participant you would like to add?
I think about half of it was seed, so there's nothing above ground. I think almost half of it is actually plants. So one of the participants, Mr. Nelson, actually was talking about rabbits. So we may need to think about something on short order with that. I thought I was going to get over there yesterday, but it was just too hectic, so we didn't make it over there. Plus, I hadn't signed the release yet. When I was out there on Saturday, I was out there with people who had signed releases, because I got there after the parks folks had moved on. So I got out there, and we stayed until 2:45.
Really? Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes, ma'am. But it was full.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody may have been able to scooch something in here or here, but really the roads were full. So. it's a lot.
And hopefully we'll get more people joining us along the way. Like I said, the group that's been out participating and working on it, they're very gung-ho and excited and hard workers. They came out there and just jumped right in. And good thing a few of them knew what was going on too. They had planted a few gardens before, so they knew what they were doing. And there's a few simple rules too, and we're going to try to get those posted out there. Just things simple like we don't want potatoes because of the kind of insects and other things that they attract. We're not going to do any trees of any kind, fruit trees or anything, because we don't want them to create shade. If we decide we want to do trees, we can do them in another area, but we're not going to do those right in the garden area. Going to stay away from pesticides and that kind of stuff. Participants can't use any kind of power tools or motorized equipment. They can just use hand tools, and people brought all kinds of hand tools and did well with them. So if you want to come work in the garden, bring your hand tools and come on down after you've signed your waiver. We do have water right next to the garden, so it will be easily accessible to keep the garden watered. There's shade next to the garden. We have a little covered picnic table there, and there's a dumpster there, so really has everything it needs. Oh, and I don't think we even mentioned where it was. It's next to the senior center on Stones River Road. So as our first community garden venture, so far so good, and we'll see where it takes us from here. And there's been interest in starting them at another location as well, so we're going to see how this one goes and possibly look at starting some at another location. Other locations that we've talked about don't necessarily have water sources or some of the other things, but we can sure start working on that as well.
So is the concept right now for folks to bring their own plants or seeds and then just harvest their own, or is it?
The concept right now is it's one big garden. We talked about whether to make it separate plots and let people, kind of reserve their own area. And the general consensus was that they wanted to kind of all do it together. And there was a few people that said if I wanted my own little area, I'd just do it in my backyard. So the general consensus is that we're just going to do one big garden, and if once it starts growing, you just work on whatever needs work, and if there's spaces that things didn't grow or whatever, and we want to add some different stuff to it, then you can. We also are going to try to make some little markers to tell what's planted where the rows are, because like she said, a lot of it's seed, so you don't really, since it's not grown yet, you don't really know what's there, but just so people know what's already there. But good start so far.
Well, even the plants. I mean, this really is my first community garden. We were sticking the little placards, we call little cards, coming them at the end of the row, because really I couldn't tell the difference
Right.
between the squash and the cantaloupe.
Right.
Honestly, they really look very similar to me.
Yeah, and they
So
do.
it'll be obvious when they grow, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
No,
Once,
no, really. And then we did the hot peppers ended up next to the tomatoes. There was actually discussion about that because they can bleed over and you can get hot tomatoes. So those who were present voted, and they stayed where they were.
good.
So we might have some spicy tomatoes. The rabbits haven't eaten everything, because really those were all the little plants.
Good.
Well, very, very exciting for our first community garden venture.
Any other comments?
Actually, there is a woman at work who has done gardens when she lived in the Philippines. And she said a really cheap way to water the garden is to save the gallon jugs from milk, the plastic gallon jugs, or if you drink the soda stuff or whatever, the tea stuff. You put a couple pinprick holes in the bottom. She says it looks funny, but you set them between the rows. She says it'll take a couple days for one of those to drain, and the garden always stays damp. So I meant to email you about that, but I forgot to put it in there.
That's interesting.
Maybe people could just drop off for the next couple of weeks, or something that would be manageable, right? Because if we get excess, we can just, I'll take it to recycle. But that way we wouldn't have to use as much. A lot of water runs off, so it's wasted, and I think we are using city water. So, it looks a little silly, but I think it might be more economical with water.
That's a good idea.
We'd bring you some, but we do rice and soy milk, and we don't get gallon jugs.
Plenty of people do though.
That's
and
right.
we even have, we use them down at the senior center, and we just recycle them so we can start pulling them out.
Because I think you really might need 100, 150 of them for that plot. It was really quite large. I was surprised. I mean, we certainly could fill that whole space there with a big community garden, but they really had a lot of land ready. Somebody did a lot of work. We should thank whomever did that.
That was Aaron, and he did an excellent job.
He really did. He really, because I like to get in there. I mean, I still got dirt in my fingernails. I really do like to just dig into it, and he did a really good job.
He did.
Most of it was quite soft.
And the one thing I want to say is the Parks and Rec Department, we love doing stuff like this, and we're going to help any way we can and support it, but we are very busy and very spread thin, and so it's really going to be up to the people in the community to keep it going and swing by there and get stuff done. And if you need to contact us and you need our help, that, like I said, we'll be glad to when we can, but I don't want everybody to think that we're doing it and we're just going to take care of everything. So
Oh no, that's not a community garden.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
Well, and that's where the rubber hits the road.
Exactly.
Leanne and I were talking about that right before we started. A lot of people really think they want to do the garden, but they just don't realize the sort of work.
A lot of work.
That's
It
a
is.
lot.
A lot
It
of
is.
weeding, yeah.
Well, you sound like you know, Jerry.
Oh, a
You
lot
grew
of
up on a
work.
farm.
Garden's a lot of work, especially with hand tools.
It is a lot of work, but the more the community is involved with the hands-on, the more ownership they have, and the better they feel about it, and it just is a great thing for the community. So we want that. We want that. We don't want to take that away from the citizens. So
Well, I'm so glad you're talking about additional sites. I mean, Laverne really, from this perspective, is quite large. We really could pop these things in lots and lots of places once people start to communicate a desire to be involved. And I'm willing to field those queries so your staff doesn't have to get bundled under with that.
That would be
If they
great.
come through you and you want to bump them over to me, and my email address is all over the place. And
That
I'll
would
do
be
that.
great. And we've started a small little email like listserv that we can add people to and just shoot out emails. If somebody wants to start a blog, they can. We can't, the city can't legally do one, but if somebody wants to do some kind of blog or about the community garden that's, working with it, they sure can. But we'll just keep communicating the best that we can with the people that we have.
Well, I've never done a blog myself, and my concern would just be the people that we would drop off. We would, a lot of the demographic that would be drawn to community gardening, they may not do that sort of stuff. I don't know. Are you guys, Bob, do you blog? How about you,
Yes.
Jerry, do you?
No, I don't blog.
No? So maybe, Rob, that might be dead on. I just, gosh, I guess I'm old enough to, I guess I'll have to, I know people at work do it, so I guess I should venture into that. Can't be that hard to do.
And there's probably plenty of, at least somebody that's on the committee now or working on the garden now that could do something like that for sure. So,
Well, I'll be asking.
absolutely.
The next time you have your work day or people out there, just ask and see who wants to maybe lead that up.
And that we're also asking that the people that are active right now to help us monitor if new people come along, ask them if they have filled out the hold harmless, because that's really the only thing the attorney said is pretty important from our end, is to make sure that that's done. So if y'all just help us monitor that, and we can give give y'all extra copies so that you can give them out when you.
I was just thinking
Yeah.
that because Harrison, I need to fill out for Harrison and I.
Okay.
So that will be sent to me sometime over the next several days, and I'll just run a bunch of copies,
That'd be great.
and I'll try to hand them out to people, because really we'll be there with our vehicles.
Yep, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Upcoming events? You
I will. We've got, actually this week's a pretty busy week, but we got quite a few things coming up. This week happens to be National Volunteer Week, and in honor of that, we're doing a volunteer appreciation reception. You guys are all invited to come by. It's a kind of a stop-in reception. It's held at the Senior Center. It's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday between 4 and 7. Just little nibbles and a little socializing and getting a gift bag. So we're keeping it as simple as we can, but we do want to show our appreciation to our community volunteers. And this is for volunteers in the community that volunteer on a regular basis. Our coaches, our scout leaders, our Box 100, our rescue squad, those kind of volunteers. So anybody that wants to come by and see us, we'd be glad to have you. Any questions about that?
Do you need any volunteers to work it for you?
Actually, we're probably good
Okay.
on that.
Because I pick Harrison up on Wednesday. Oh, but he has soccer at 6:30. Hey, we could have him help for a little while.
Okay,
and
all right.
I could help. If you need that, let me know.
Okay. And the next day, on Thursday, it's Earth Day. And we've talked for several years about trying to do some kind of Earth Day event. And there's several in the area where they do, bring out vendors and do kind of educational things. So we didn't want to compete with any of those, and plus it's kind of a big deal to put something like that together. So we just decided to do something very simple and just invite people to come out to our park and help us pick up trash and celebrate Earth Day. So that's Thursday, the 22nd, from 5 to 7. Come by for 10 minutes or come by for 2 hours. And we'll be at Pavilion A at Veterans Memorial Park.
Miss Robin, you're really doing what the original intent of Earth Day was. I read this article last week about this rigmarole, probably amongst I don't know what you call the people who like to take care of the ground, but that they call it carnivalistic. That's not what Earth Day is really about. A lot of people are making money off Earth Day now, and really it's about taking care of Mother Earth. So you guys have hit what it's really about.
That's kind of what we were aiming for, is just to keep it simple and do something that will make an impact. Wanted to invite everyone to come to the Senior Bean Dinner fundraiser. It's next Wednesday, April 28th, from 11 to 1 at the Senior Center. It's $5 for beans, onion relish, cornbread, and a drink. And then they're also having a bake sale. The seniors are all making baked goods, and you can buy your dessert. So we appreciate your support, and anybody that you want to bring out there. We can make to-go orders as well. Summer camp sign-ups right around the corner, May 8th, at the Parks and Rec building at 9 o'clock. And we fill up pretty quick. We take the first 50 kids per week for our 6-week program. And then the next Saturday, May 15th, is Get Fit Laverne at Veterans Memorial Park from 10 to 2.
So you need volunteers for that.
Uh-huh.
Get
That'd be
Fit
great.
Laverne.
Get Fit Laverne. It's an event that we've done for 3 or 4 years with the health department and Snap Fitness here in Laverne, and some other vendors come out, and it's just promoting the community, the citizens of Laverne to get fit and do things that are good for them as far as exercise and eating right and getting out, enjoying your community, exercise use your park for what it's there for. So we invite everybody to come out for that.
And you'll send a reminder email?
Absolutely.
Because that one I didn't have in my memory at all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Quite a busy week coming up next week.
Yeah, it
Well,
is, very
summer's here
busy.
now. Park staff works hard every day.
Yeah.
All the ones out in the field doing all the things that you don't see
Yeah.
to make it happen. We appreciate that. Was there any other comments or anything?
I would see if the city has an Eagle Scout program, what do we want to call it?
You know, for Eagles, for Scouts.
For an
to
Eagle
do.
Scout, yeah.
You know, like we did out at the.
Do we
park.
have
We
anything
do.
available?
We do. We have Aaron Simmons in our Parks Department works with. We have people contact us a couple times a year and ask if
Okay.
we have projects. We try to keep a list together of projects that we have available, and we tell them what we have
That one that Irvin
available.
gives, I know about it, they can't do that.
Do what?
They can't do the bridge down here.
They can't?
No.
Okay. Well, we have a couple of, I don't know exactly what's on our list right now, but we do have a couple of projects that we let them
You
know.
don't know what they are?
I don't off the top of my head, but just have somebody contact our office and we'll hook them up with the right people.
All right. Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Our next meeting will be May 17th here at City Hall at 6 o'clock. Again, I want to thank each of you for volunteering your time to serve on this committee and serve the city, and appreciate the Parks Department for what they do to make the park system work so great here. This meeting's adjourned.